All right, so today we are diving into the world of ICT change and configuration management.
Okay.
It's a mouthful, I know.
It is.
But stick with us because this is way more interesting than it might sound at first.
Yeah, it sounds very technical when you first hear it.
Right.
But actually, when you think about it, you're essentially the air traffic controller for a company's entire IT landscape.
Okay, air traffic control for computers. I'm listening.
Exactly.
So no pilot headsets and radar screens.
Well, not exactly,
Okay.
but you are dealing with software updates, new applications, system configurations, all those things that could cause a digital meltdown if not handled carefully.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this is important.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to be the one responsible for crashing the company website because someone messed up a software update.
right.
So we got some great info from RoleCatcher for this deep dive.
Yeah,
They've got a really in-depth career guide that breaks down this whole world.
they do.
So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
What does an ICT change and configuration manager actually do?
Well, it's more than just tech skills, although obviously those are important.
Right.
So imagine a company's about to launch a brand new online service.
Okay, big day for them.
Yeah. Huge.
Right.
Everyone's watching.
The configuration manager is the one who makes sure that their whole IT infrastructure can handle it
Oh, wow.
without a hitch.
No pressure.
They're making sure the servers can handle all the traffic, that the applications are all configured right, and that everything works together seamlessly so the website doesn't crash 5 minutes after launch.
So they really have a very real impact on the business.
100%.
They're not just changing ones and zeros, they're changing the game for these companies.
That's a great way to put it.
So they're responsible for managing changes to software applications, the whole shebang.
Absolutely. They assess the potential impact of any change, big or small. They make sure it's tested and validated, and then they carefully plan and implement it to minimize risk.
Wow. Okay, so they don't just work by themselves. This is a whole team effort.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Who are they working with? Well, we're talking developers, testers, project managers. You've even got senior management in the mix.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They're the central hub, making sure everyone's on the same page and that all of the technology lines up with the company goals.
That sounds like a lot of responsibility,
It is, but
but a lot of room to grow, too.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher talks about how you start as a junior analyst and work your way up to a manager role with more responsibility and more earning potential along the way.
That makes sense.
You could even specialize in something like cloud computing or cybersecurity.
Okay, so there's a clear path for people who are ambitious.
Definitely.
Now, speaking of advancements, RoleCatcher also talked about AI kind of shaking things up in this field.
Yeah.
So what's going on with that?
It's pretty cool, actually. They were talking about these tools that use AI to analyze job descriptions to help optimize your CV.
Really?
Yeah. So it's highlighting the skills that are most relevant.
Okay.
And then get this, it can even help prepare you for interviews,
What by like?
predicting what questions they're going to ask you.
Wait, so it's like a digital crystal ball for job interviews.
Kind of.
That's wild.
It is wild.
Tell me more.
It really is amazing. You get personalized feedback on your interview skills
Okay.
from an AI. It's like having a digital mentor.
Like a digital mentor in your pocket.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So how about we talk about how AI is impacting the day-to-day for an ICT change and configuration manager?
Yeah, let's get into that.
Because this is where I think it gets really interesting.
Okay.
RoleCatcher was talking about this trend of using AI for automation,
Okay.
and specifically in changing configuration management tasks.
Right.
Because just think about how much data these managers are dealing with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, tracking software versions,
Right.
managing system configurations,
Making sure everything's compatible.
identifying potential conflicts before they even come up.
Right.
That's a lot to keep track of.
It is a lot.
AI can handle a lot of that.
Really?
Yeah, so like instead of manually checking if a new software update is compatible with every system,
Right.
AI can just analyze all that data super quickly
Okay.
and flag anything that looks off.
Oh, that's really useful.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like having a super efficient assistant who never needs a break.
That's amazing. And they probably don't complain as much either.
Exactly. And it frees up these managers to actually focus on the bigger picture stuff.
Okay.
Things that actually require a human to think about that.
Right. So the strategy part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of getting lost in these tiny little details,
Yeah.
ICT change and configuration managers can focus on aligning the IT changes with business goals,
I see.
improving efficiency,
Okay.
planning for new technology.
It's like that saying, Work smarter, not harder.
Yes, exactly.
It sounds like this is a role that's constantly evolving.
All the time.
Which makes sense because technology never sits still.
Never. And that's another thing that RoleCatcher really emphasized.
What's that?
Continuous learning is essential here.
Yeah.
To stay ahead of the curve,
Yep.
you've got to always be learning new technologies, getting those certifications.
So you're not just managing change in the digital world, you're managing your own growth as a professional.
100%. And that's part of what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
You're right there on the front lines of all this new stuff, figuring out how companies are going to adapt and use it.
Okay, I have to say, you're making this sound really cool.
It's a cool job.
So, for someone listening who's thinking, this sounds like me, where do they even begin?
Great question.
What skills do they need?
Well, first and foremost, you have to be a master problem solver.
Okay.
We're talking analytical thinking, assessing complex situations.
Right, being able to come up with creative solutions.
Yes, and often under pressure,
Ow, wow.
which is why you need those really strong communication skills as well.
Yeah, because if you can't explain what the solution is, then what's the point?
Exactly. You're the bridge between the tech team and everyone else.
Okay.
You need to be able to explain complex stuff in a way that anyone can get.
So no hiding behind the computer all day.
No way you are interacting with all levels of the organization, so you need to be comfortable talking to anyone.
It's not just about being a tech whiz, then you've got to be a people person too.
For sure.
Got it. So what about formal education and certifications? Are there any must-haves there?
A bachelor's degree in computer science or something similar is a great foundation.
Makes sense.
But certifications can really make your resume stand out.
Okay.
RoleCatcher specifically mentioned ITIL, CCMP, CMDB, and PMP.
Whoa, hold on. Those are some serious acronyms. Can you break those down?
Sure. So ITIL stands for Information Technology and Infrastructure Library, and it's a framework for managing IT services.
Okay.
CCMP is the Certified Change Management Professional, and that focuses on handling company changes effectively.
Makes sense.
CMDB is the Configuration Management Database, which is all about keeping track of IT assets and how they all work together.
Okay.
And PMP is Project Management Professional, so that one's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're definitely an investment, but they show that you are serious about this and that you've mastered those specific skills.
Right, which can lead to better job opportunity.
Exactly.
And more money.
And more money.
Which is always nice. So speaking of money, what kind of salary can someone expect in this role?
So RoleCatcher said it's usually between $70,000 and $100,000 a year.
Okay.
But obviously that can change based on your experience, location, industry, all that.
Right, and those certifications probably help.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's not too shabby for keeping the digital world up and running.
Not at all.
So we've talked about the role itself, the skills you need, how much AI is changing things, education, and even salary expectations. So with all that said, what's the one thing that someone who's thinking about this career path should really take away?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about being like a tech genius.
Okay.
It's about being able to think strategically.
Okay, so you need to understand how it all works, but also why.
Yes, exactly. And how it all fits into the bigger picture of what a company is trying to do.
Right, so you have to see how upgrading a server connects to launching a successful marketing campaign.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to be the bridge between the tech people and everybody else and be able to explain why changes are necessary and then how to make those changes smoothly.
Because when technology is supporting the goals of the business, that's when the magic really happens.
That's it,
It
yeah.
sounds like a role that needs a really specific mix of skills.
It does.
You need to understand the technical side, but also the business side, and then you've got to be good with people too.
Right. And that's part of what makes it so interesting.
So you're not just keeping things running, you're actually shaping the future.
One carefully managed change at a time.
I like that. Okay, so for someone listening who's ready to take on that challenge, what's your advice to them?
Never stop learning
Never stop learning.
because technology never stops changing. So you can't either.
Words to live by. All right, well, we've covered so much today about what it means to be an ICT change and configuration manager, all the skills you need, what to expect to earn, how much AI is shaking things up.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. But before we go, I want to leave you with this one last thought. If technology is always changing, what do you think this job will look like in the next 5 or 10 years? Will there be new challenges? Will there be new opportunities? Something to think about. And that's it for this deep dive into ICT change and configuration management. Thanks for listening.